Welcome to AMP2. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to navigate through the Blackboard shell and how to get started with this course. So this is an online course, which means that everything is presented online, including all of the labs. To begin with the course, you're going to go to the Syllabus tab, and then you're going to read the syllabus. The most important part of the syllabus is going to be found in the center of the syllabus. So there's a schedule in there that you're going to have to follow closely. If this is a condensed 6-week course or a regular standard 12 to 15-week course, there's going to be some different things that you have to do. So the 6-week condensed course is going to go twice as fast. You'll have to complete 1 module per week. If you take the more extended version, the 12 to 15-week course long, then you'll go through 1 module every other week. So you'll actually get twice the amount of time if you take the full semester course. Either way, it'll work. We'll get through all the content. You just want to make sure that you download the syllabus and pay close attention to the schedule in there. There are also some policies here, so instructor drops in census reporting policies. You want to make sure that you read through that. You have to at least log into the course Blackboard page, attend the mandatory week 1 orientation meeting, and submit at least 1 assignment in Blackboard by the end of the first week of the course. If you don't do that, then you will potentially be dropped from the course. So you want to make sure that you do those things within the first week of the course beginning. If you go to the textbook information, you can see the textbook that's required for this course. So this course requires 2 things. One is free. It's an OpenStax textbook. That's the textbook that we use for this course, so you can download it for free by this link. And then in the learning modules themselves, there's direct links to each individual chapter within the book. So you don't need to purchase the actual textbook unless you want a hard copy of that book. If you do want a hard copy, then you have to purchase that. There's a few available in the bookstore. Otherwise, there's places online that you can find the hard copy of the book. The other thing that you need that's not free that you'll have to purchase is the Visible Body courseware with the apps. Visible Body is a virtual dissection cadaver that we use for our lab component. So that will help teach all of the anatomy for the course. So you want to make sure that you get Visible Body. And the way that you get Visible Body is you can either purchase the code through the bookstore or you can purchase it directly through Visible Body. So this is the link to the Visible Body course. When you click on that link, it's going to ask you to register. Now, you're either going to register and then enter in the code that you purchased at the bookstore, or you're going to register and then pay for immediate access. Either way, you're going to need to buy access. So you can get it from the bookstore or you can just register right there. This link will give you some additional information for getting started with Visible Body. So it'll walk you through the steps of how to actually get Visible Body. Visible Body is required for all of the labs, so you'll have to go in there and complete assignments. There's graded quizzes, and that grade will count toward your final grade for the course. So you have to make sure that you get in Visible Body and that you're completing the stuff that's assigned in Visible Body. Instructor information gives you a little bit more information about me. So if you're interested in learning more about me personally, professionally, all that kind of stuff, that's in there. And then we get into the learning modules. So when we look at the learning modules, they're going to be broken down into predominantly 6 modules with a pre-work tab and a final exam tab. So there's some directions. It says to complete the assignments in the module folders by their due dates. Any assignments are going to be indicated in the color red, and they're going to say the word graded on them. So you want to look for something red or something that says graded. There's a folder of supplemental items, and these items may or may not help you. There's some additional videos and links and that type of stuff that some students have found useful in the past. So you can go ahead and look through those or not. There's nothing that's graded in this folder. The PreWork module contains the pre-work that's required for this course. There's directions for completing the PreWork module. There's a video on how to use Visible Body. And the Visible Body in this video is set up a little bit differently because it covers, for general AMP, more of the organ systems, but it's still kind of the same concept. So it'll show you how to navigate through Visible Body. Then there's a training for success in online science courses with an accompanying quiz. Many of you have never taken a science course entirely online before. And if you have, you haven't really taken one that's kind of this intense. So there's a PowerPoint and then an accompanying quiz that you should be able to get 100% on. It's unlimited time, unlimited attempts, so you can keep taking it until you get your 100%. The other thing that we have to cover in this course is laboratory safety. So lab safety is a key component of this course. Even though we're not going to be meeting in person to do any dissections or laboratory experiments, we still need to talk about the topic. So you'll read through the documents that are here, and then you'll take the lab safety quiz. This safety quiz is, again, unlimited attempts and unlimited time, so you should be able to just click through it as many times as necessary in order to get 100%. This is the information for the orientation meeting. This is going to be different for each course section that I teach, so this may or may not be the time that is set for your section. So you want to actually go into your Blackboard shell and read this information because it might be different for your specific section. You're required to attend one of these meetings. I offer a morning session and an evening session to kind of meet the needs of everybody, and you will attend the meeting either by clicking this link, or you can click on the link that you can find in the virtual meeting room tab here on the side. This meeting is required or you will be dropped from the course. I need to make sure that you can be successful in an online course, and I do that by making sure that you can get into Blackboard, you can click on that Zoom link, and that you can access Zoom. So that's one of the important things that I need to know that you can do to be successful in this course. And then there's some information about time management and how to be a successful college student. So, for some, returning to school after a long period of time or being new to college can have some challenges and barriers. So that's just a short video that gives you some tips on how to manage your time. So then we go on to the first module. Every module is going to be structured in an identical way, so that once you get through the first module, you kind of have an understanding of how the other ones are going to go. There's a case study, and then there's directions here. For lecture assignments, you have to download the study guide. The study guide is just a bunch of questions, and you have to answer those questions to the best of your ability. The more thought and information you put into those answers, the better prepared you're going to be for the lecture test. If you skim the surface and just put like tiny little definitions down for each one, you're not really going to do well on the lecture test because you're not going to have spent the time reading and evaluating and answering these questions to the best of your ability. These questions aren't due. I'm not going to collect them from you, but they will guide you through all of the videos and all of the reading that you do so that you're paying attention to the right things. This study guide is as such. It helps you study the correct material. There's a lot of information that's presented in the textbook and even in this course, but if it's not on that study guide, then it's not going to be on a test. So it really narrows down the amount of material that you have to learn and narrows down the topics. So spend some time going through that study guide and answering those questions thoroughly, like whole, complete sentences that make sense. The more time you spend on the study guide, the better your outcome will be in this course. You've got two options for completing the study guide. You can read the textbook, so the links to the actual chapter that's referenced in the study guide is accessed by clicking on that link, or you can go through the lecture videos. Additionally, you can Google some answers, you can use Visible Body. There's a lot of resources that you can pull from, but these are the two that are provided to you in the shell. So if you look at my lecture videos, some of these are me talking, so it's my voiceover PowerPoints, and if they are me talking, then I use these PowerPoint slides. So these are the slides that you'll see me talking over. Some students like to print out those slides and have them next to them when they're reviewing stuff. I do supplement a lot of other videos because sometimes these processes are easier to see when there's a real picture or like a real model that they can go through. And that's not the technology that I have access to be able to create those types of videos. So sometimes concepts are easier understood if there's an animated video versus just a PowerPoint. So with those types of concepts, I do have more thorough videos. You can see that they go in order. It says video 1, video 2, 3, 4, and then there's this supplemental thing. If it's supplemental, that means that the content in the video has either been covered before or it's not 100% essential for the course. So if you don't watch it, you're not missing out on too much. The supplemental are optional but strongly recommended. They're in here because I found value to them, and they give you a different perspective on the course content. So I recommend watching even the supplemental videos. And then you'll see it goes all the way through to the end, and then there's some additional supplemental videos at the end. Now it may seem like a lot of videos, especially for this first module, but they're all like 5 to 20 minutes long, so there's no videos in here that are longer. You can see this one's 6 minutes, another 6-minute video, 7 minutes, so it seems like a lot, but they're really short video clips. So going back to the module, that's what you would complete for the lecture. So you're going to download that study guide, and that's going to focus your studying. It's going to focus your reading and focus your attention in those videos. Then you get to the lab assignment. With the lab assignment, you're going to do a couple different things. You're going to review these lab study materials, and then you're going to go to Visible Body, and there's a folder in Visible Body that'll say Lab 1 Digestive System. And you're going to click on that folder in Visible Body and complete the assignments in Visible Body. There's a separate video on Visible Body in that PreWork tab that tells you how to complete those assignments in Visible Body. Additionally, you'll have to come here and click through this lab report. So anything that wasn't covered in Visible Body, or anything that I wanted to emphasize more to you, will be covered in this lab report here. So you're going to click on it, it'll open up, and it's a test. So it's unlimited time, unlimited attempts. It'll give you a grade right away, so you know exactly what you got right and wrong, and you can keep taking it so that you can practice and do better and better and better. And that's really designed to help you study for the Anatomy ID test. Once you've completed the lecture assignments and the lab assignments, then it's time to take the tests. So here you can see the lecture test and the lab or Anatomy ID test. For the lecture test, it tells you exactly how many questions, how long you have to take it. For every test, you have 2 attempts, and your best attempt counts, except for the final exam where you only get 1 attempt. But this is designed this way. The same thing with the Anatomy ID. It tells you how many questions, how long you have to take it. You have 2 attempts, and your best attempt counts. When it comes time to taking the test, I recommend take it once and then submit it. And then when you submit, it'll show you all of the questions and say which ones you got right or wrong. At that point, you should take some notes and start studying again. So spend some time studying the course content again, review the questions thoroughly, and you can even look up some of the answers to the questions. Prepare before you take it the second time. A lot of students will just take it the first time and the second time back to back right away, and they don't have any reflection or any time in between those 2 attempts, and they're surprised when they get the same grade twice, or sometimes they'll do worse on their second attempt. So take the time to study in between the attempts. That's why I gave you 2 attempts, so that you can actually use the test to learn from, not just set up for your failure. So I want you to go through it once, study again, go through it a second time so that you can do well in this course. The Anatomy ID is going to be a picture ID, so PowerPoint the PowerPoints are provided to you up here, so the quiz sheets are typically going to be the pictures that I give you in those Anatomy ID tests. So for these, spelling must be exact. You cannot write out full sentences, so when it says put 1 word for your answer, you should only put 1 word. Be careful with adding the letter S at the end. If it's not indicating multiple, you shouldn't use the letter S. Just be careful with how you're writing in the word. The word spelling should exactly match what you've been provided in the study materials. Some students have written out like full sentences or said, this is the blank of the blank, and they write out more words than what's necessary and end up getting it marked wrong. Because Blackboard is just looking for that part, that key component of what it's asking for. So make sure you only give it what it's asking for and not provide additional, or you will get it marked wrong. And that constitutes 1 module, so lecture assignments, lab assignments, and tests. And that's how all the modules are going to be structured until you get to the finals. So once you get to the final exam, there's 2 final exams. There is a final lecture exam and a final lab practical. For the final lecture exam, Respondus Monitor is required. Respondus Monitor requires that you have a webcam and a microphone on while you're taking the exam. So it's going to take a picture of you, take a picture of your student ID, and then it'll have the camera live watching you while you're taking the exam. It'll also lock down your browser, so you won't be able to navigate to other websites. You won't be able to Google other things while you're using this. The whole purpose of doing it this way is to make sure that the person who enrolled in the course is the person who's completing the course and getting credit for the course. So if we have an asynchronous online course like this and we don't monitor who's taking the exam, really anyone could be the one taking the exam. Just to maintain the integrity of the course, the integrity of the student that's actually enrolled in the course, we want to make sure that we can verify the identity. So I put it on a high stakes assessment. This final exam is worth 15% of your final grade. If you haven't done everything yourself in this course, you probably won't do well on the final, and that'll severely impact your grade in the course. So it's really just designed for me to make sure that I know who took that final exam and who should get credit for the course. The final lab practical is not going to use Respondus Monitor, so you just have to do it for the lecture exam, and there's detailed directions of how to do it up here, and there's a video about it, and then here's the actual link to download the browser. If you enter the exam any other way, it won't let you take it. You have to go into the Respondus Monitor lockdown browser and access the exam that way. So you have to go through that route in order to access it. These final exams are very similar to your previous tests. So your module tests, the lecture test, the anatomy ID test, that's the kind of stuff that you're going to expect on here. These are cumulative, so everything from day one of the course through to the end is going to be fair game for these tests. So that covers the learning modules. Email is the best way to contact me. If you email through Blackboard, it actually brings with your section number, which is really helpful for me. Typically, I teach a lot of different types of subjects in different formats, so if I know what section you're coming from, I can answer your question a lot faster. So email also through Blackboard can help you email other students in the course. You can email all instructor users, which is really just me. Single and select users, if you know that there's one person in the class that you want to email, you can find that person here. So it's a really neat function to be able to email through Blackboard. In the virtual meeting room tab, this is going to provide the link to my Zoom, and it'll tell you my office hours. So for summer 2021, these are my office hours. If you're taking this in a different semester, office hours may be completely different. So you want to make sure that you review the office hours. They're also listed in the syllabus, and then you can attend by Zoom. Also, our virtual week 1 mandatory orientation meeting is going to be in this same link. And if you ever need to meet with me outside of that or outside of my office hours, we'll schedule a Zoom, and that's how you can Zoom with me through that link. The discussion board is optional for this course. If you want to post questions, you can. I don't check the discussion board ever, so if you want me to check it, you'll have to email me and ask me to check it, but otherwise that's just open and available if you guys want to ask each other questions. The My Grades tab gives you your current grade in the course. I typically do my grading on Mondays since everything's due on Sundays for this course. Mondays are my big grading days, so I update grades on Mondays, but pretty much at any point in the course, you'll be able to see your current grade. There's a Student Resources tab, and in here there's additional information about like visible body and the weighted total, how to access virtual tutoring, and a bunch of campus resources. A lot of students don't know that we provide free Microsoft Office to our students, and this is the link to download that free Microsoft Office and Maxient report system. If you need to report any incidents or anything like that on campus, there's counseling, campus safety resources. There's a lot of resources here that you should review just in case you need them. And then diversity and inclusion. So diversity and inclusion is a particularly important topic in the field of science, and we need to bring more attention to the fact that this field has not thoroughly embraced diversity and inclusion to date. So there's things we can do about it, though, and there's organizations out there that students can become a part of. And this information right here provides links and information, organizations, all sorts of stuff that you can join as a student and help boost the diversity and inclusion in the sciences. So if that's something you're interested in, that's available for you to look at. So that's basically the important aspects of the Blackboard shell. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Otherwise, everybody should be attending that week 1 mandatory orientation meeting where we can talk some more.